If you haven't gotten one of these, it's called the Comfy. I found it on Amazon. It's essentially like a giant sweatshirt that is also a blanket. I have no bad things to say about it. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you missed my last video, one, you should subscribe so you don't. Two, thank you for 500,000 subscribers, which maybe you're not one of them because you missed that video. So better go do it now, huh? Anyway, hope you've been staying healthy. Hope you've been staying sane. I know one thing that's been keeping me sane is weed, if we're being real here. And you guys know I've been a lot more open about my stoner identity as of late. It kind of felt like, you know, I don't think I ever lied about it. I just didn't tell you. But I feel like now that it's out there, might as well just go full force. Sit back, grab a snack. This one's gonna be kind of long. Disclaimer before we begin, if you are not of age and it is not legal where you are, do not smoke weed. If you are of age and it is legal and you want to, then I say go for it. But maybe don't do the things that I'm about to tell you, because this story time is going to be the dumbest things I've ever done while I was high that I can remember. You would think this would be like a 5-part episode, but I really can't remember that many. Probably because I was high, but let's just start. What to start with? You know, this is my favorite, and normally I would save the best for last, but I don't necessarily think it's the best story. It's just like, it's so dumb. Like, it's me hitting a new level of So, the year is 2010. I'm hanging out with my good guy friend. We'll call him Sam. Every time I make up a fake name, I like have this moment of, do I know any Sams? Like, yes, but not from high school. Sam works. So me and Sam, we're hanging out, and this is pretty recent after I'd started smoking. I didn't start smoking until halfway through freshman year of college, and then when I would go home for breaks, this guy friend happened to live right down the street from me, and he knew I had started smoking, so he would very routinely pick me up, and we would go get food, and then we would drive to the top of our street and smoke in his car for a little bit, and then he would drop me back off, and my mom would be like, it's so weird, it smells like skunk out here. And I'd be like, crazy, I know, another one. But she was at work. So me and Sam are hanging out in my backyard. And this is at a point that I don't think I have any of my own paraphernalia or equipment. Smoking out of his bong. Vividly remember we're sitting in lounge chairs, had a chocolate bar. I'm trying to remember what the brand was because I remember at the time, like this was like the go-to chocolate bar. I mean, at least the ones that my friends were getting. I also had a lot of friends that had their club cards. So it wasn't like we were ever getting stuff from dealers. They were going to clubs. So they were always getting like high grade medical stuff. Sam has this candy bar and he whips it out and he's like, look what I have. And I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, wanna go see a movie? And I'm like, yeah, what one should we see? And we start looking at showtimes and realize that the only movie that we really want to see is Alice in Wonderland. Well, Alice in Wonderland is in 3D. And ironically, I just saw Shane Dawson tweeting about this the other day that he's so glad the 3D era of movies is kind of over. Agreed. I hated 3D movies growing up because for some reason it was just always like, I don't know if it's just a problem for me, but it was always really blurry. And I tell this to Sam when we were discussing going to the movie. And I was like, I don't know, it's only in 3D. Like, I want to see it, but like, I really don't like 3D. Do we have to? And he just kept being like, suck it up. 3D is not that bad. Why are you making such a big deal about it? And I'm like, okay, fine, you're right. So we pick a showtime that's very soon. And we start breaking up this chocolate bar. And I think it came in like 4 pieces and we both ate one and then maybe split another one. So there was like one left over. This was too long ago. I don't remember what the dosages were, and also my tolerance was way lower, so it probably wasn't even that high and it just messed me up. But anyway, I don't think it was some absurd amount, but it was enough that it was gonna like have us feeling very great for this movie, which Alice in Wonderland in 3D, that feels like a perfect movie to smoke for, right? Yes, well, remember, I've already voiced my hatred for 3D movies. We were seeing it at a mall movie theater. So remember, we get to the mall parking lot, we proceed to smoke more in his car because obviously. And then we go inside where I proceed to keep complaining how I don't want to see a 3D movie. We go in, we get our 3D glasses, we sit down, and the previews start. First one comes on, and I just remember being like, dude, Sam, I can't, like, are you kidding? You, like, that's not blurry to you? Like, even the previews are bad. What are you talking about? Continuing to echo how much I hate these 3D movies because my main thing was that they're blurry. And he keeps being like, what are you talking about? No, it's not. And I'm like, it's so blurry. But like, I kind of shut up for a sec. I watched 2 more previews because at this point I am being annoying. So I'm like, shut up, deal with it. It's fine. The actual movie begins. I don't know how to explain how confused. I'm like, I'm looking around like, how is anyone else watching this? It is absurd how blurry it is. Do my eyes just not work with 3D glasses? Is that what's going on? Like, please explain to me why no one else is freaking out, because I genuinely am in my seat like, how can you see this? Like, this isn't a problem for you? And he keeps being like, no, what are you talking about? It is then that I look down and see in my lap that there is a pair of 3D glasses, still in their plastic wrap. What's on my face then, might you ask? My sunglasses. You know how 3D glasses nowadays, they're very Ray-Ban-esque. Turns out I'm just wearing my sunglasses, and that's why everything is so blurry that I can't even watch it. So at this point, the easy solution would be like, okay, cool. But at this point, I've made such a big deal about how fucking blurry it is and how difficult it is for me to see. I'm like, oh no, I can't tell him now that I just fucked up and didn't realize that I was wearing my sunglasses. But since they're still in their packaging, there's no way that I'm going to be able to silently reach down, unwrap these glasses, put them on, take my sunglasses. The switch was never gonna happen without him noticing. It was a lost cause. And yet I tried anyway. The movie continues. I slowly try to rip open the packaging just as quietly as I possibly can. It was plastic, so it was not quiet at all, and he noticed immediately, and I just remember he looks down and he just goes, oh my God. Kind of giving me this look like, you didn't. And I'm like, I did. It was a collective facepalm for both of us. So obviously I think that's hands down one of the dumbest things I've ever done while I was high, but also just the fact that there was so much leading up to it where I was like, oh, 3D movies suck, I hate these. Then I'm like, why is it so blurry? Oh my God, guys, it was just, it was like the joke was written for a TV show. I couldn't believe it was real. And even now, like if anyone ever brings up dumb things you do high, I can't, that's the first thing that pops into my mind. I can never get my friends just like judgmental stare of him realizing what had happened is just gonna haunt me for the rest of my life. Okay, so that's definitely the dumbest thing I've done. The rest of the things aren't really like dumb. There's like the stuff that I feel like everyone's done. Like have you driven before and stopped at a stop sign and waited for it to turn green? Because whoops. Don't drive under the influence. This was a long time ago. Okay, the next ones aren't really like things that were just like stupid. It was maybe like you made a bad decision and got too high, and then I'll just start. This next one takes place in 2011. So I was 21. Me and two of my friends decided that we're gonna go out to Santa Barbara for the weekend for a special occasion, Katy Perry's California Dreams tour. Why would you not go in LA? Well, we were diehard Katy Perry fans, and she actually is from Santa Barbara. That's her hometown. So we decided it would be fun if we saw her concert there, because I realize how embarrassing that is now, but you know, we also had friends in Santa Barbara, so we were gonna like make a weekend out of it. Which brings me to the story. We had gone out the night before the concert. I think we were pretty responsible, and we're like, we're not gonna get too fucked up because we do not want to be hungover for Katy Perry. Well, we were a little hungover the next day because, you know, it happens. What's the best cure for a hangover? If you smoke, weed. We had weed, but I also had a friend from high school that lived just a few houses down from where we were staying, and he had dabs. If you don't know what that is, it's like very concentrated. It's like weed made into an oil. I feel like I'm just gonna sound like such a druggie. Basically, it's weed that's been like cooked and made down into like a oil. There's a lot of names for it. It's a concentrate. My friends used to call it shatter back in the day. Most recently, I feel like people just call it dabs. But the whole process of smoking it is very different, and it's become much more normalized now. At the time, not so much. Kind of looks like you were smoking crack. It was always my guy friends that had it, and they would never make us pay for it because we were girls. And I remember always loving being able to take them, and I never would buy them for myself. So when the opportunity arose, I was like, yes, let's do it. So I remember I'm texting my friend this morning, and he's like, oh, you're hungover? Come over for some dabs before the concert. It'll be great. My friend that was with me, I don't believe had ever even done it because she wasn't from California, so she wouldn't have been exposed to all the medical stuff. But she smokes a lot of weed, so she was super down anyway. Well, we walked down the street and go to my friend's house to take a couple dabs. Pretty sure we only took one each. And I want to like put footage of what it looks like of someone doing it in here, but I feel like I'll get demonetized. It basically is like a little bong, and it has something that you heat up with a blowtorch, and then you wipe the like oil onto it. I feel like I'm not going to be explaining this well, but if you've smoked dabs before, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, imagine like smoking one hit of weed out of a bong times 25. Sometimes not as much, but like at the time it felt like it was definitely very, very strong. Felt like 25 times a normal hit. So we only had to take one before we were done. I remind you, we were there for the Katy Perry concert, not just to get high. It wasn't like this was right before the Katy Perry concert, but dabs are very strong. I'd almost say it's like an in-between of like inedible and just normal weed. Is like, it's not gonna be a complete day ender, but like it kind of could be. This basically felt like it was going to be. Us walking back to our friend's house after just our one hit each beach. The anxiety we had, we were freaking out, partly because we were high, but two, because we knew how high we were and we were like, oh my God, what if we can't make it to the Katy Perry concert? I don't even think we discussed it that much because it was just such internal panic and because we were too high and we just like couldn't form words. And we had one other friend that was coming out later to meet us. So I don't even know if we told her what had happened, but we are losing our minds and we were like, what are we gonna do? We're not gonna be able to make it. We even had to go to CVS at one point to buy makeup and we were staring at the makeup aisle and it was just like, all the colors look the same. Time was going by really slow and it was like, felt like everyone was staring at us and we were just super, super paranoid and we just like needed to sleep. So I remember we go back to our friend's house where we were staying and it was a bunch of guys that lived in the house and we walk in and they were like, are you guys gonna be okay? And we were like, no, we need to take a nap right now. And it was like, we needed to power nap and sleep this off before, I think we had an hour before we had to get up. And that was only gonna allot us like 15 minutes to get ready. Guys, I don't know what happened during this magical nap, but somehow we were able to bounce back. That's pretty much the end of the story. Then we went to the Katy Perry concert and it was the best night of my life. But for a good hour or two, we really thought it wasn't gonna happen. And it was like, I just actually said in my last video, they were VIP tickets, so it was like very expensive. I just gotten these because my mom had not let me go to a Spice Girls concert years before, and I had basically held this against her for years until then this concert comes up and she finally made it up to me. If I missed that because I just like took a dab that got me too high, oh my God, I don't know. I would have never forgiven myself in a million years. It would have been the end of the world. But somehow we napped it off. We still talk about it though, because it was like such a close call. Honestly, the dumb part in that situation is just that we got high to begin with, but it felt like it kind of fit in here. This last one doesn't totally fit in either, but it's just the greatest story and I don't know what else I would title the video. Back in 2009, I was visiting, you guessed it, Santa Barbara. Whenever I was home, Santa Barbara's only 45 minutes away and I had a lot of friends that went there, so it was a very convenient drive and I could go for like a night or two and it was super fun, so I was a frequent visitor. I think I had gone home for winter break, but it was like a week before their winter break started, so I went up to go hang out before they all went home too. I think I'd maybe started smoking like a month earlier and it wasn't like I was smoking often. It was like when I was drunk, maybe I'd like take a couple of hits. I go to visit my friends and it's these 4 guys that live in a house. I was going to visit 2 of my 4 friends. The other 2, one of them was like in class, so he wasn't gonna be going out with us, and the other one was out of town. And I think it might have been the first time we were visiting them like in their new college house. And it was so disgusting. If you've been to Santa Barbara, specifically Isla Vista, which is the neighborhood where everyone lives that's right by the beach, let's just say their house wasn't the cleanest. I remember getting there and they like didn't have anything. It was like no plates, no cups, no cleaning supplies, no anything. I think there was like one like giant jug of water that like everyone was just like communally drinking out of. Other than that, it was like very minimal home items, which like whatever, who cares? We're just gonna be drinking. Why did we need anything? We didn't even have anything to drink out of. We were taking shots from weed containers. That was our shot glass. And I think me and my friend had stopped and got chasers on our way. But otherwise, keep in mind, nothing in this house. Like, I don't know if it's because they were like poor college kids or they just didn't have things, but regardless, it was not like a luxurious place to be staying. So we start out the evening really strongly, taking these shots out of literal weed containers, which, ew, that's gross. Even now that I do smoke a lot, like that doesn't sound fun. I'd probably taken 3 shots. And also this is after I've been at ASU for a semester. So like I could drink, I could hold my alcohol. That wasn't my concern. Weed was new. Alcohol was not new. Take a few shots. We're having a great time. I don't even think they had a couch yet. It's all shared rooms. So I think we were sitting in one of the rooms, just like chilling on the beds, taking our fucking shots out of our weed containers. And I remember the plan for the night was that their frat was having a date party and we were going to be their dates because it was me and my friend visiting 2 of our guy friends. So we're pre-gaming for this date party. We're sitting in their room, blah, blah. All of a sudden there's a knock at the door. And as I mentioned, this is not far from where I grew up. So when we were visiting, it was not unusual to see quite a few people from my high school. These specific gentlemen from my high school that entered were some of the biggest stoners ever. One of which was very, very wealthy and would just like, the amount of weed he had at all times was absurd. I ironically was very anti-weed in high school, and anytime anyone tried to get me to do it, I was like, ew, no, weed, gross. I don't like smoke. Meanwhile, now I'm like, okay, sure you don't, Will. So while I drank, I did have a reputation. Oh, Lily doesn't smoke. She didn't like weed. Which is why when I did start smoking, word spread very fast. So these guys show up. I haven't seen them in a long time, and I wasn't super close friends with them, but I knew them pretty well. They walk in and we're all like catching up, like, oh my God, hi, good to see you. And they're like, Lil, we heard you smoke now. Bong rips. And I'm like, okay. No, like, yes, I smoke now, occasionally out of small pipes, not out of bongs, and not this fancy California weed. It's illegal in Arizona, so probably most of the weed that I was smoking wasn't even that good. Let's just say this weed was. And when it's the biggest stoner from your entire high school coming with his bong, you can probably assume it's gonna be pretty strong. I don't know why dumb Lily didn't assume that it was gonna be really strong, and she thought that 3 shots in that was an appropriate thing to be doing before she goes to a frat party, but this is called dumbest things I've done while I was high. I guess these last 2 are more so dumbest times that I've ever gotten high rather than like the dumbest things I've done. But this one escalates quickly. So they're like, oh my God, you have to smoke with us. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Of course. Yeah, I can totally do that. Stupid. Shouldn't have done that. We go to the living room where he pulls out his like 3-foot bong and packs a bowl. I wasn't really watching him pack the bowl. I don't know if that would have really mattered anyway. I had only been really smoking out of like pipes occasionally, but I'm like all like, oh, I can show the guys that I smoke now. I can hang, but no, you can't hang. You're stupid. You shouldn't have done it. Well, 1 hit from that bong, not even a full bowl. Just like, I feel like we all split it, but oh my God. It weirdly, this has never happened to me before, by the way. This is probably hands down the worst experience I ever had smoking. I take the hit, the guys are all very excited. I'm like, oh yeah, look at me, I smoke now, I'm so cool. No one would have cared if I didn't, especially if I was like, no, that's gonna get me too fucked up and I'm not gonna be able to go out for the rest of the night. Well, let me tell you, right after I finish that bong, my friends that I'm visiting come out of the room and they're like, oh my God, okay, time to go to the frat party. At this point in time, I'm still okay. I'm like a little like, oh, whoa, what did I just do? But like, I'm fine. Everyone grabs their stuff. We go to walk to the frat, which is like a 10-minute walk. We're about halfway there. 5 minutes into this walk, all of a sudden I lose all ability completely whatsoever to speak, form thoughts other than I need to leave. Basically do anything aside from the girlfriend that had driven up there with me to visit, clutching her arm. And I'm in my head saying, oh my God, help me. I don't know what to do. Take me home before I die. And she's just seeing me being like I literally cannot form words. Nothing is coming out of my mouth. I cannot say anything. This is one of my really good friends. So she kind of gets right away that something's wrong. So she yells to her other friends and she's like, hey guys, I think I'm gonna walk Lil back. I think she maybe got too high. And I'm like, that's what happened. That's what happened. I'm not saying that because I still literally words cannot come out. I'm like Ariel in The Little Mermaid, no voice. But I've not gotten anything in exchange. My legs are pretty much gone too at this point. So I'm like leaning on her. She's walking me back. Bless her heart. Thank you, Audrey. I feel like I don't need to give her a fake name because she wasn't the stupid one that was smoking. Anyway, she gets me back to this house where luckily at this point, one of our other guy friends and one of the other roommates to this house was getting home with his girlfriend. And so they're there to like kind of babysit me so Audrey can go back out and actually have fun. So Audrey's kind of like, okay, here you go. Drops me off and just like, you good? Okay, bye. Totally understand. We just went to visit Santa Barbara, go out and hang out with our friends. I'll be fine throwing up by myself. I don't need someone to hold my hair back. They let me into that house and I beeline for the bathroom and I am throwing up easily for the next 4 hours, I think. My friends were so sweet. It's a couple that was dating. So they're like coming in alternating and be like, hey, do you need a water? And I still hours in could not talk. I do not know how to describe. It was like I knew what was going on in the world around me, but I couldn't interact with it. I'm like having PTSD even thinking about it. This isn't even the worst part of the story because yes, it gets worse. Because apparently throwing up for 4 hours in your friend's bathroom isn't enough. I'd finally, after hours, reached this point of, I think I'm done throwing up, aka I don't think there's anything left in my stomach. P.S. At this point, I knew it was from the weed, but we'll get to why all this happened at the end. But so I finished throwing up. I'm so exhausted. My friends are like, okay, like, do you want to get in bed? So they put me to bed in my friend Colin's bed. This is even funnier to tell now because Colin and I like definitely don't keep in touch. Do not remember the last time I've spoken to him. Would love to catch up, but like years. I've not seen him in so long. So I get nice and comfy, crawl into Colin's bed. I think I'm good for the night. I mean, I've ruined my night. I feel miserable, but like, I think I've been through the worst. I don't know how long I fell asleep for. No, it wasn't long. Before I woke up, have you ever woken up? This is so gross. I feel like I should put a trigger warning before this story. It's disgusting. Have you ever been really drunk and you wake up by the urge to throw up? You don't wake up and you're like, I kind of need to throw up. It's like you wake up because you're literally like about to, like I'm pretty sure it was like in my throat. Yeah, that's what happened to me. I don't even think I sat up before I started. This is so disgusting. I can't even believe I'm telling this story. I woke up and I think I tried to like quickly like just even get kind of towards the door so I can get towards the bathroom, but I didn't. I threw up. Actually, the better terminology would be that I projectile vomited all over my friend's bed. Wall. His desk was right, like here's his bed, here's his desk and his computer, and I just threw up all over everywhere. And then ran to the bathroom, threw up a little more. And at this point, I should mention, it's like 5 a.m. I would think my friend would have been home, but thank God, for some reason, he had gotten really drunk and slept at the frat house in one of his friend's rooms, giving me at least a little time to kind of figure this out. But it turns out time didn't matter because, as I said earlier, this house was pretty much empty. It was a bunch of college guys that had not done their shopping and they had no cleaning supplies, no anything. I think I finally found some paper towels in a cupboard somewhere, but there's no soap or anything. Also, that bed was still empty because it was just me that had been sleeping in it because my friend had never come home. The other bed has my other friend who lived there and my friend that was visiting with me passed out. Apparently my projectile vomiting didn't wake them up. So I'm trying to like silently clean with my paper towels, which like it didn't go well. I also didn't want to like turn all the lights on because they were sleeping, and then I didn't want anyone to know. And I think I was still fucked up from everything that had happened, that I wasn't thinking straight. So I tried to clean up as much as I can. I don't even think I saw everywhere though that it had gone, so I definitely missed some large chunks. I want to say I like paid them or something afterwards, but I don't think I had any money at the time, so probably not. So I cleaned a little. I would say I got it to like an acceptable point and then I left, but I think I didn't stop because it hit the acceptable point. I had to stop because it was like, oh my God, I'm gonna throw up more and then there's just gonna be more to clean. I need to get out of here as soon as I possibly can. At this point, I didn't know that my friend was still sleeping at the frat. Maybe he was about to get home any minute. I didn't know. And I didn't know the best way to explain what had happened, really, because I don't even think he knew. Like, he had seen me leave, but I don't think he knew how sick I got. So I'm in this daze. It's 5 a.m. Gotten barely any sleep because I've been puking all night. I've puked all over my friend's bedroom, furniture, wall, computer, everything. I've no way to really clean it up. I probably have made it worse by like smearing it into the carpet. Now I'm at this point that I'm like, well, I'm not gonna go back to sleep because 1, I wanna die, and 2, there's throw up in the bed and I'd rather not get back in there. So finally I decide there's nothing more I can do. I'm not gonna be able to clean it anymore. It's a lost cause. They're gonna be mad at me anyway. I just am gonna bite the bullet and deal with them being mad. But how would I tell them this? Should I text them? Should I wait till they find out and then like see if they ask me? Like, what should the plan here be? I'm kidding. I never would have just like left it for them to find. But back to them having nothing in their house, I couldn't find a piece of paper or a pen. What I did find was a paper towel and an orange highlighter. So I took the paper towel, took my orange highlighter, wrote a little note, explained myself, left it on the desk near the throw up. Ew. Then woke my friend up and was like, hello, we have to leave. And then we pieced the fuck out of there. And I was expecting to hear from the boys later in the day, any of them really. Mostly just to start what I would assume would be an endless string of them making fun of me for the rest of our friendships, which definitely happened. I'm expecting a call from them, a text, one of them being like, oh my God, Lily, that's so gross. Can't believe you did that. Or, oh my God, what happened? No. Did I receive a text or a call like I expected? No. I received a Facebook notification that I had been tagged in a photo, a mobile upload, if you will. It served me right because, you know, I did throw up all over his bed. He had taken a picture of my highlighter note and posted it on his Facebook for everyone to see. Anytime after that, when I would visit, they'd be like, oh, I don't know, Lily, I don't know if I want you sleeping in my bed. Oh, which actually, speaking of, the reason all of this happened, which my friends had done some detective work afterwards, because even they found it weird, because getting high and drunk at the same time, it can definitely lead to some less than favorable circumstances, aka you get the spins and want to die. And I feel like I've thrown up from being crossfaded before, but this was a whole new level, you guys. It was like I was just like, my body wasn't working. It was like I had been roofied by weed. I don't even know how to explain it. But when I got home, I told one of my other friends about it. And then he reached out to the guys that had smoked me out to be like, dude, did you hear what happened to Lily? Like, what the fuck did you give her? Oh, don't worry. It was weed, but it was coated in hash oil. So when someone that is barely smoking a bowl at a time, sometimes when she's drunk, like super late night, to be given a like very, very large hit of weed that was, oh my God. And if you watch my edible story, you know, that's like a similar situation that afterwards they were like, oh yeah, we didn't tell you they were keef brownies. And both of these times, I don't think it was a malicious thing. I don't think they were trying to be like, oh, let's get the girls really fucked up. I think it was like they were smoking it and just kind of didn't really think about it. It was normal for them, so why wouldn't it be normal for me? But like, maybe because the whole reason I was smoking was because we were all like rejoicing in the fact that I just started. Well, another situation where I kind of got set up for failure. Like, had I known that it was that strong of stuff, I absolutely wouldn't have smoked it. And I absolutely wouldn't have right before I was trying to go out. But, I can't believe I threw up in my friend's bed. I think that's the only time I've thrown up where it affected someone else. Let me know some of your dumbest high moments in the comments below. I think I already asked you guys for this, but since it's the beginning of this, it kind of got all screwed up and I don't have the right episode. So I'm gonna read a few, but then I also want you to leave more because I feel like a lot of you left edible stories when I was asking for the dumb high stories, and I want both. But for this one, I'm gonna read a comment from the edibles video because I asked in that one for your dumbest thing you did while you were high, but still leave that in the comments below because I want to know more. But for today, we have Andrea M's story.
My friends told me we were going out to eat because I was moving away the week after, so naturally, I smoked a bunch before because that's what we always did before getting a bunch of food. Turns out, going out to eat was my surprise party, with mine and my boyfriend's entire family and friends. And I pulled up high as fuck. 0 out of 10 do not recommend.
I've never had anything like that happen. I have smoked just before I've gone out before thinking it was going to be a good idea, and then I've gotten out and been like, oh, why did you do this? This was horrible. Next, we have Haley. The dumbest thing she's done while high.
I went to the gas station, prepaid for my gas, took off the gas cap, got back in my car, and left, only to realize 30 minutes later that I never pumped the fucking gas.
At least you didn't like put it in and then drive away, because I've had a friend's dad do that when he was not high, and it is very expensive. Okay, last one. Stasa says,
wanted to turn down the volume on the TV, stood up, turned the light off, and went back to sit in front of the loud as fuck TV.
I feel like that's even when you're not high, when you're driving in like a parking garage, or if you're looking for something and you turn down your music to see better. Somehow it feels like it helps. Those just make me warm and fuzzy inside, so I would love any more dumb high things you've done. Then I feel better about myself, because these were some rough stories to admit. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, because I have plenty more stories where these came from. Am I gonna regret this later? Possibly. Maybe. Thank you for being here today. Don't forget to comment.